Kosher Wine Podcast with Dr. Kenny Friedman and Rabbi Bernath.
Hello, Kenny. Purim is in the air.
Shalom, Rabbi. Very excited. Adar's here. Marbim Simcha.
Lots of simcha, lots of joy. You are getting ready for Purim, I hope. And this is our pre-Purim episode.
I start getting ready for Purim the first day after Purim, on Shushan Purim, or the day after Shushan Purim, I should say. I have a big calendar and I start putting X's through each day, counting down the days to Purim each year.
And?
Well, we're really in the Parsha here, yeah?
I never heard that terminology, that we're really in the Parsha of Purim, but yes.
Well, literally, it's Parsha Zachar this week, right? That's the actual
Yeah.
Parsha. What is that? I don't know. I can't think off my head. What does Parsha Zachar have to do with Purim? Besides the obvious Haman,
Haman
Amalek,
was
is that it?
from Agag, who was
There
from
has to be
Amalek.
another reason Haman Amalek, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Not to get political whatsoever, and I'm not going to say my opinion on it. I just saw it this week, and I thought it was very apropos to the Parsha. Is that what's his name? Shoot, Tucker Carlson was in the White House in the Oval Office this week, and there was a picture of him sitting at the desk of Trump, and it just very much seemed like and someone wrote it as a joke, but like one of these true jokes. And I don't remember the Parsha from the Megillah, but it was when Haman came and said, like, there's a certain people, and he's like talking to the king, and it all seemed just about right. It all seemed very. So anyway, as it always does, it'll turn out the same way for us.
Exactly. We've seen it before.
That's right. Oh, that's Pesach Torah more, but in
Yeah.
each generation they rise up against us.
Yeah, but Purim is v'nahapachu. The whole story of Purim is v'nahapachu.
Right.
You know, we things that don't look like they're gonna be one way, they turn out to be completely different.
Yeah. And I think Adar, like Marbim B'Simcha, I think it's the v'nahapachu in it is that, and a lot of people that struggle, their lives can turn around. The light
Yeah.
can come into their world in this month.
Hashem should bless those who are struggling, those who need their lives to turn around, those who need a speedy recovery. They should have a refuah shlema, a speedy recovery, and their lives should be able to be v'nahapachu, because this is the mazel. The mazel of Adar is the Jewish mazel.
Amen. Amazing.
I feel like I can be a rabbi here. It's so
You
nice.
should be. I'm gonna write a nice recommendation for you.
Thank you.
For
So
wherever that'll get you.
exactly. Tell me, I actually, as you were talking, I was thinking of this. Is there a wine that is a v'nahapachu wine for you? Like you thought it would be one way and was completely different?
Yes. It seems like this was a planned question and answer thing. We don't do that.
No.
Totally ad-libbed. I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me that it's ad-libbed.
Yeah, but if somebody thinks we had no conversation.
Content.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're just asking me that off the cuff, and I
Yeah.
happen to think of an answer, and it's going to sound insulting to the wine, and it's not. And actually, I'm planning on doing either a live tasting of another bottle. I have it sitting right to my left here. I'm not going to bring it up, but it's but when I opened it, I bought it for an event, and I bought it like I hadn't tried it, and it's one of those wines that it's priced at one of these points, and it kind of had that silly look to me that I'm like, I'm not buying into that. You know what people would say about what's a good example? What's a good example of an over the top bottle? I don't know. I don't even have to mention names, but
Yeah,
like
we don't have to.
just
Yeah.
the bottle looks silly. Not silly. It just looks very fancy.
Is it a 5-pound bottle?
It's a very heavy bottle. It's probably a 5-pound bottle, and it has a big like metal, tag on it, and it's very fancy looking to the point where I see that stuff and that turns me off. I know that sells to a lot of
Is that
people.
the Givati Torah?
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna
I
keep
tried to
taking
guess
that.
it.
It's a Kinsella Estate Zinfandel.
Oh yeah.
Now it's an expensive one. It's not crazy expensive. It's like $80, I think.
And why is there like a little nothing cork in it?
I'm going to show it. So, right, you saw
There's a
that.
little nothing cork.
So that was the second thing that kind of threw me off, and I didn't really understand the cork thing. Here it is. You can see that, and it has like this is like that metallic piece here, and this is metallic, and weighs a ton. It's one of these bottles that when you finish it, you can't tell. It
You
feels
can't
like it's
tell if
full.
there's wine in it or not. It's a
It's
river
a full.
wine, right?
People keep like trying to pour it, and there's no wine in it.
Yeah. It's a
Anyway,
river wine, right?
and on top of that, I don't with the exception of Four Gates Zinfandel, I've never had a Zinfandel I've even liked. I don't even like it. And I'm like, all right, I just don't like the grape so much. Benio just has like his magic touch with everything, I think.
Yeah.
But from for someone who's only had kosher wine, I kept thinking, okay, maybe it's just not a good wine. And then I came to the conclusion that, all right, maybe I just don't love Zinfandel. And I know based on what Zinfandel is supposed to be, it's not my style typically. It's very big wine. It's high alcohol, big fruit, bombastic wine, which isn't something that I go for. And then I pulled out the cork, and I was not like impressed by the cork because I'm a cork nerd. And then I drank it, and I was blown away that it's delicious. It's a really delicious wine. It's worth the money on it, and I don't say that about a lot of $80 wines. I'm not a guy that buys $80 wines. I bought it for an event where I wanted bottles that looked fancy also, besides being great, and that was the only one I took a flyer on. Every other wine I knew very well, and I was using wines like Chalk Hill, and I used that new Isaiah Thomas champagne, interesting and cool and looks fancy and that whole thing, and were actually really good wines. And I took a flyer on this one because I happened upon it, and it was really great, and I was very surprised by it. And I would say that that's um, the second really good zin I've ever had.
Wow.
What about you?
I think Ami would be very happy to hear that.
Yeah, and I told him that he was very happy here, and he was in Ami style, not surprised at all because he said it's great. Um, Ami's, by the way, very underrated. I think of him as he's kind of a version of the other Amichai Luri, in that he's a very hardworking person. And, success comes to those people because they work so hard and they're so strongly believe in everything they're doing. And I think he reminds me of him, very much in that way. Ami Nahari and Larissa, they're both very hardworking people, and I'm really honestly another on top of that, another Vinahapachu one I had also from him was, and I think we talked about it on a recent podcast, was a Twin Sons Sauvignon Blanc 2024. I thought it was awesome and very cheap and really great wine. I've suggested that to so many people
I
since.
really enjoyed that wine. Really enjoyed. We haven't spoken about it, but I
I thought
actually
we
had
did.
it. I had it for the first time at KWD because he was there. He had a table there, and I said to him, "Oh, the buttery Chardonnay. All the cool kids are drinking the buttery Chardonnay, and he's one of the few kosher buttery Chardonnays." And he's like, "Oh, you got to try the Sauvignon," and
I
I
don't.
couldn't believe it.
I don't think it's one of the few buttery Chardonnays. I know that Ami says that, but there are plenty of buttery Chardonnays. It's the only one called buttery
That's
Chardonnay.
correct. I'm just saying, yes, correct.
If he's listening to this, he's probably gonna get mad at me, but that's all right. That's why I live 200 miles away and lock my doors. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. And that's why we can say whatever we want. This is our
No,
podcast.
it's but the Twin Sons is something I a little bit wrote off in my head, and they're producing a lot of good wines, and they're inexpensive, a lot of them, and they're mavushal, a lot of them, which is good for that price range.
Yeah.
So that would be another one. Do you happen to have any
Do I have any Vinahapachu wine?
wines? Is that the name of this podcast?
I
Vin
guess so.
wines? Oh,
So
I have
we
another topic I want to discuss, but do you have any Vin wines?
I actually one just came to mind. We had this past Tuesday night, Yaakov Oryah was here. I know that you also hosted Yaakov Oryah last week.
I did. Yeah, let me hear about that. But let me hear about the wine first and then tell me about the Oryah visit.
And so one of the wines was not a wine that I would ever, ever, ever think of having or buying. It's was a 2018 what he calls the Melky Tzedek,
Yeah,
and it's this skin macerated
right.
white. I don't remember offhand. It's like a Ruzan with like it's all these kind of white grapes, and you pour it in the glass, and it's like golden. Like it's not even a white wine. It's more like really golden, and it's incredible. I would never have thought of even trying it. It was like you just look at it. Melchizedek also. I know he has all these crazy names for all his wines.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not a big white drinker, but it was just, I would say a red lover's white, and that's why it's a Vinahapachu for me.
Wait a second. Where did you get that from? I thought, is that your line? Red Lover's White?
Yes, I
That's
don't
fun.
think.
Someone came over to me. The reason I bring that up is because someone came over to me, my friend Schmop, that is his name. What's his nickname? Schmop Weisbord, the famous Schmop Weisbord of Baltimore, came over to me and he was at the Oryah tasting.
Name dropping.
Well, Schmop, he's a mini celebrity. I'm not going to say a full celebrity. He's a mini celebrity. I think he has a profile on IMDb's. A well-known actor in certain circles. I'll put it that
Okay.
way.
Okay.
Anyway, and a lovely head of hair, which I always, I'm very fond of.
I have a profile on
Um,
IMDb, but no head of hair.
I have neither. He came over and he said, he doesn't like white wine. It's something I've tried to, have him taste so many white wines. I really am convinced he just doesn't like it because most people who say they don't like wine have never really tasted good white wines or don't give them a chance. He's given them a chance and he just doesn't, it's just not his thing. Fine. He tasted he tasted a bunch of Yaakov's white wines, and he came over to me and he was like, "I can't believe that I love these." And the one specifically he was drinking was an orange wine, and I explained that part to him, but he said, it's white wine for red wine lovers. And I was like, "It's great." And we told Yaakov that, and he loved that. And I know that's like I felt like that's been said, but anyway, it's a great line, and it's true because the thing is, especially. I wouldn't say orange wine specifically is going to, be something every red wine lover will drink, but it has tremendous amount of character to it relative to a normal
Yeah.
wine.
I'll
Uh,
tell you, I never noticed Yaakov's wines, but tasting them all the way that we tasted 9 wines, and he just breaks all of the standards. Like he has
yeah,
a white wine made of red wine grapes, and he has a red wine made of white wine grapes, and he
right,
just breaks all of the rules.
right. All kinds of interesting aging, interesting barrels,
Yes.
interesting techniques, and like, yeah, he's really just such an experimenter and a bit of a mad scientist that it's good to have him out there on our team.
It was his first trip to Canada.
You had a very high-end event, it looked like.
Yeah, we brought in Yasso Backman from YB Experience,
Cool.
and Yasso and I spent about no less than 15 hours together, tasting every single wine, deciding what the menu would be. It was like a highly curated menu with 7 dishes paired, and it was it was incredible. I mean, even in Yaakov said that he's been to many dinners and never had. He said some of them were literally deconstructed wine, like he could taste the wine in the food.
Yeah, cool.
It was special.
What,
I was happy to do that.
yeah, that was very recently, right?
Yeah, it was Tuesday night.
And Backman, I know I just put together his name. His father is at College Park, Rabbi Backman.
Exactly.
I
Rabbi
know who
Eli
he,
Bachman is his father. Exactly.
as you said that was it started the chains. See, something still works up there. Yeah, a lot of my friends are very close to Rabbi Backman from their time in College Park. So yeah, that's a well-known name. That's awesome. That's his stuff
I
looked amazing. Stuff looked
he
amazing.
he it was incredible. I mean, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. Obviously, it was the first time he ever did a pairing. So
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah, and I
Well, if Yaakov gave
wow.
props, that's a big because Yaakov's been to a lot of fancy dinners and he's eaten at a lot of fancy places. So that's a big compliment.
I actually after the event, I sat down with Yossel and Yaakov, and really the interview was I initially was going to do with Yaakov, but Yossel was there, and it ended up being about the pairings, and then about later about Yaakov's history and his foray into wine. So at some point we'll post it here on the podcast. I don't know, maybe in a week or two.
Nice. Yeah, I don't have that much to say about my Oreo tasting except that everyone loved it. I was in the kitchen. So Um, being a very amateur version of your chef, doing my best. But it was great. Everyone loved Yaakov and his wines. It was special to have him here. He left his sweater in my house. I ran out to the Uber afterwards. I missed it. And now I am auctioning off Yaakov Oryah's sweater, as I told him, for proceeds. The bids begin at $10,000.
He must love
I'll
you
say
so
mine, you
much. They
look
say if you
closely.
leave something in someone's house, it means you love them.
I hope so. I love him. He's really what a mensch person, and he has a lot of Baltimore connections, which I won't get into, but it was great to have him here.
So understated, so humble.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I think he's a legend, and he's such a unique character in the kosher wine scene. I think probably all overall in the wine in the whole wine world because he really does things. He's such a thinker and he's such an experimenter, and he never seems satisfied. He's not complacent with anything. He's always looking for the next interesting wrinkle on making wine. He's always tinkering. He's always looking to change it. He's always looking to improve.
Did you have any of his Emmy series wines? Those are really interesting.
I think I've had all of his wines over the last few years. I've been to a bunch of his tastings. I went to a great tasting last year in Philadelphia that he did at my friend Ellie Feldman's, and that was really special. And that one I got to enjoy and really taste the wines. This one I barely got to, Yaakov, because he's a mensch person, brought me like a few glasses, but I am running around. The person who usually helps me in the kitchen wasn't available this time, so my wife, God bless her, helped me. But food's hard.
I want to do an
But
event with you.
wine's a much easier gig than food.
I
Yeah,
want to taste your food. Yeah,
yeah, I gotta come to Montreal, I guess.
yeah.
I really do anyway. But wintertime, no. No, thanks. Cold enough here for me.
I
Go
actually got stuck.
tundra.
I was doing a tasting in New York during the blizzard, and I got stuck in New York and almost didn't make it to Montreal. There was no flights going out until Wednesday, so I had to just find a car. I got a one-way rental and just got in the
Oh,
car.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people were. My one of my girls was stuck in LA going back to New York. She didn't even get back. She's coming here instead. 'Cause it was so crazy there.
crazy.
But let me ask you this to change gears, and we're going to keep this relatively short because, as I told you, I need to go running today, and it's the skylight is
I am so
dwindling.
proud of you. Every time I see you posting your runnings, if no one knows about this, every day Kenny's posting
Yeah.
his runnings. He's my hero.
Well, for two reasons. And the first one is that so no one thinks I'm on Ozempic. Not that anything is wrong with that, but I got three accusations of Ozempic early on. And especially if you compare our podcast from like a year ago to now, I look like that guy looked like he ate me or something like that. So that's the main reason is that people see that I'm putting in the miles. Um, and the second part is just vanity. Because I was going to say, like, as I tell people, I'm like, how do you know someone's a vegan? Because they don't stop talking about it. It's the same thing with like, yeah, when I find someone who runs, it's the best. It's like talking, it's like finding someone who loves wine and you just sit and schmooze about wine.
Exactly. So what do we call us? Like, what's the name for somebody who doesn't stop talking about wine, like me?
A vinophile?
A vinophile. Okay.
I don't know. Just someone who like is in love with wine. I don't know. I mean, that's the very generic term for it.
Yeah, but like vegan sounds good. Like it's a good word. We need a word.
Right. So, what you need is like vinit like a pescatarian, except for you only drink wine and nothing else.
Weaned on wine.
Vegetarian, a venotarian, a venotarian. You have a grape-based diet or something. I don't know.
It's
Um,
fruit. It's natural. It's a vegan diet.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm on your team. Um, question for you,
Yes.
and this is the other topic I wanted to discuss. Um, and this is ad-libbing, remember. Um, Purim,
Yes.
we mentioned, is on the very near horizon. What is your Purim wine? Like, what do you like to drink on Purim and why?
So it's interesting that I think about Purim. obviously, it's so funny that I never talk rabbi, but I'm going to put on my rabbi hat for a second.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to put on your rabbi hat in general for Purim. Yeah.
So
You're not here for your looks, by the way. You're here
definitely
for,
not.
yeah.
What do you mean? You don't like my beard?
I'm not saying I'm not, I think you're handsome. I'm just saying, but that's not why you're here.
Right.
We have you here for your brain and your rabbinic, your knowledge.
So I'll do a little rundown, just to give you an idea, and I think it'll probably inform why I would choose a certain wine for Purim. So the Gemara Megillah says, I think it's Rava. I'm doing this off the top of my head, that a person is obligated to become intoxicated on Purim until they cannot distinguish between Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai. Cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai. Now, immediately after this, there is a story in the
I know
Gemara
this.
of Rabbah and Rav
I just want
Zera.
to point out that I know this, much like I point out that I run. Just vanity. I know this story. It's amazing. Go ahead. I just wanted to point out I knew.
No, please.
Yeah, I'm shocked myself. Go ahead.
The Gemara tells this story. There's many stories in the Gemara. My favorite of the stories are Rabbah bar Barchana, but this is a story of Rabbah and Rav Zera. Um, I know this story because Lubavitch Rebbe has a beautiful talk on it. And so they become drunk at a Purim feast, and the story goes that Rabbah stands up and slaughters shechs Rav Zera. And the next day he prays for mercy and he's revived. Now, what's interesting is that these two kind of elements, I would say, if I can use a rabbinic word, which I never use, these are two elements are juxtaposed, right? Of many people have grappled with this explanation and try to talk about various parameters of drinking on Purim based on this. So the Rambam says that you should drink until you become drunk and fall asleep. Why? Because if you're sleeping, you don't have to distinguish between blessed is Mordechai and cursed is Haman.
Also, you're less likely to murder anyone.
There's another one, I think the Knesset HaGedolah says that you drink until you can't calculate the gematria of Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai, which, by the way, they have the same gematria. They're both 504. Did you know that?
I was going to get back to you tomorrow on that.
Okay, you can test it. They actually are both 504. So that if you can't remember the gematria of Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai, that's how long you drink. The Tzvas Emes, if I remember correctly, says that um, that the intention is not about the state of drunkenness, but the time of the drinking, meaning that you should drink until you can't distinguish time. I think it's, and I think in the Shulchan Aruch it kind of says something like that you should have gratitude for Purim and for the miracle of Purim, for the Hapachu that we were talking about, and that you should also like kind of lose time. Most people, I think, they drink slightly more than usual, which is very difficult for me because I often have wine. And so what's slightly more than my usual drinking is very complicated. What do you think of that?
Which part of it? That last
What
part?
is slightly more than your usual drinking?
No, to be honest, I don't think I get drunk. I only drink wine for many years now. I don't drink anything else. It's very hard I guess, for someone like me to get drunk on wine. I mean, that
Exactly.
word, like, I'm not drunk. I'm not shicker. I'm none of those. But I would say that I certainly on Purim, I drink more wine than I do on a regular. I mean, I don't during the week. So many people, I'm sure you get this also. Do you drink
All the
wine every
time.
night? Every night? I'm like, I don't drink wine every night. The reality is maybe I should have a glass every night, but it helped me sleep. But Primarily, I drink wine on Shabbos, and I would say like my standard thing is my most standard thing, especially if we have a quieter Shabbos, is that I'll open it Friday night and I'll finish the Shabbos day. That's like standard Shabbos. If we have guests,
Yeah.
obviously there's more. If we have certain guests, then it's Purim like, but that's a small list of guests. But in any case, I would say, obviously Purim, I drink more wine, but it's never to the point. I think I've struggled with the idea that like, how do you get to the point of not telling the difference between
Between
Arur Haman and
our
Baruch
yeah.
Mordechai? Like that's like, I don't, how do you get to that? Like, you have to
Can
be
I but
absolutely
can I back
obliterated.
up a second? I want to understand this because, and I never did this ever on the podcast, but the moment any rabbi goes into like a rabbinic tirade, everyone just kind of falls asleep. It's like
Yeah.
this like a shift. Like I saw you like kind of like get disassociated totally.
That's
I
not
was totally,
totally true. I was listening. I happened to be looking at my phone for a second, and you're calling me out on that, and that's fine. I
I
was
thought it had to
listening.
do with the rabbinic
Only because
thing.
my wife is somewhere and she was texting me something, and I was like, I had to check it because otherwise I may have been sternly rebuked had I not seen
No,
it.
totally,
That was the only
totally.
thing. It was not rabbinic talk. I mean, yes, I do zone out there. I'm not saying I didn't, but that wasn't why I'm there specifically that I looked down. But
No, but
yes. Yeah,
I never
there's
did this.
there's no question, by the way. Like, that's as soon as there's like something in the air changes, like when the rabbi gets up, something,
I know that's why I never talk about like Torah things because I know that everyone falls asleep. It gets like a waste. They want to hear about wine, but Torah, forget about it.
right? Um, but I think that that's I love that story, by the way. And isn't the part of the story that I think didn't he invited him the following year and he
Yes,
said but he can't rely on Anais again or something like
exactly.
that.
Can't rely on nays. So they're like,
Great.
let's not drink.
Oh, I thought it was he said I can't come, but I thought he said I can't come because I can't rely on Anais again.
Yes, that's what he said.
Right. Which is that's amazing. Um Gemara. Anyway, but I don't think you answered. No, you answered what I was asking on one part, but I was asking also specifically what wines you like to drink because it's Purim, and if you're going to be drinking more, what like you veer
So,
towards.
so this is why I was talking. So the end of the halacha, what the halacha is you should drink a little more than you usually do. Now that's very hard in general. First of all, people don't realize this, but there's a lot of calories in wine. So
I realize.
there's only so much you can drink, like beer. Like there's only so much you can actually consume without
Filling, yeah,
just getting
yeah.
sick. So what I do, so for the Seder, I always will drink a lower alcohol wine because
Right.
for to be able to get through the Seder. And for Purim, what I do is I drink a higher alcohol wine.
Ah, interesting.
So that way I'm
It makes
drinking more than my usual,
right.
but in an alcoholic content, not necessarily in the amount of wine.
Personally, I don't find that ABV makes any difference to me in terms of the alcohol content. I think it makes a difference on the body of the wine. And I personally, and you're right along the lines you're thinking. I don't do it that way, but along the lines that you do it, it makes a lot of sense that like a Pesach, if you're drinking a lower ABV wine, it's going to be lighter. It's going to be easier to drink, especially that quantity. Um, but I don't understand on Purim. Like, I guess because you don't want to, because you don't think you can consume that much. But I don't know if it's making a difference from an alcohol, but like you're going to get where you want faster. I
I don't know
think
if
you still have to drink a lot of wine to get to that point. And I don't think 14% ABV is going to make a difference between 12.5% ABV. And then you're only going to be drinking heavier wine.
yeah, it's true, but I end up look, Pesach we have this like minimum requirement of how much wine to drink. Purim, there's no requirement of how much wine to drink.
Well, there
I
kind of is.
what?
Well, there kind of is
Well,
if you
it's just
hold that
till
you're.
you more than your usual, or till you cannot till you shech Rev
Is
Zera. I
that
don't know.
more or less than the Kosos on Pesach for you? Do you find that you're drinking at least Arba Kosos?
I don't think I end up with
I
arbacosos.
for sure am. I drink probably more. I probably drink. I'm sure I drink more glasses of wine at the Purim Seudah than I do at
That
the
is that's really interesting. I think I have more different types of wines on Purim, but I don't know if I'm drinking more actual in the amount of drinking. I would love to hear what people think of that. Do people drink more wine on Purim than Pesach?
Yeah, I
You
am
think
also.
so?
I'm curious to hear what people
Yeah.
say. But
Yeah.
here's what it's leading me to my answer, which is it's as we talked about last year, and I'm sure I'll say it again Pesach this year. I know a lot of people disagree with this. Two things. Number one, and it's what you said. You drink lighter wines on at the Pesach Seder. I don't do that, and I don't not do that. I certainly open one of my best wines that I have in my cellar for Kiddush anytime I say Shechianu, I do that. To me, what else is it for? And I've probably said that a million times on this podcast.
So I but you're not
But
doing
for
it for every
Purim,
course.
Purim, I think it's the opposite. I mean, like it's not. It is a Suda, and but I don't. I'm not drinking top end wines because I'm. It's the opposite. I'm like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna consume a lot more. I'm not even gonna appreciate glass 4, 5, 6. I happen to be with a host who has great wine. I'm not turning it down, and who lets me raid his cellar. I'm not going to turn that down either. Most people, lie to me about where the cellar is in their house. But I think it's kind of the opposite for me, Purim versus Pesach. That I think that first of all, when there's a kiddush to be made, and especially when there's a shechianu on top of that, I'm bringing out a real, one of my best. On Purim, you're blowing through bottles of wine, and
I
it's
want to go
almost
to I want to go to Elliot's cellar for Purim. I
Elliot.
saw I saw you were in
Oh,
Scottsdale and you
Elliot
raided
Friedman.
Elliot's cellar, our friend.
He has a nice cellar. It's hard there, Scottsdale, unless you have Euro caves and things like that. You don't have a cellar. No one has basements there.
I'm saying he has a nice fridge
Why
there.
are there no basements? I guess it's hard to dig through the ground there. Why is there no basement? It's not like Miami. You can't have basements because of the water. Why are there no basements in Scottsdale?
There's got to be a
That's what
reason.
it seems like to me.
I find that it's hilarious that we end up in the same cities like a week apart.
Well, I guess we need to, talk a little more between podcasts.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, he has nice wines and he's very generous. And I was in his backyard drinking some of those wines.
It
They
was
were,
so
they were
good. We
very
opened the
nice.
Maya Kamas together. I hadn't had one in a while. I think it was Maya Kamas 16. It was so good.
The cab, you mean?
Yeah, that cab.
His my Thomas wines are good, no doubt. You think
I saw what
uh,
did you open? You opened the
on
French
them?
wine with him.
I did, or
You did.
I opened a French wine with him.
We opened the Maya
I'm
Kamas and a Malartic White, which was also incredible. And I'm
not
not a
looking at it because you're speaking rabbinically. I'm looking at my pictures.
I'm not a big fan of white wine, as you know, but that Malartic that we had was unbelievable. Have you had that one recently?
Yeah, it's great wine. We had the Echo, the Roses Camille. That's what we had.
Which year
Yeah.
was that? The 15?
That's a good question. No, I
I,
think it was older. I want to say it was like 12 or something. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head, honestly.
my opinion,
And we
and
also
maybe
had we also had Giscourt. We had the Chateau Giscourt,
which
17,
oh, that's a good wine.
which
That's a
is
really
like
good
super
wine.
young and super delicious. It's just great. And also we had a Mayacamas also, a Sauvignon Blanc, which was great. Um,
I think that Camille, that Echo, uh, um, the 18 is the best. I think. I mean, that's my opinion. I
I
don't know
can't
what.
say I've had a ton of them. I'm sitting on some old ones though, which I always hear mixed feedback on, but I'm not worried about it because I think, as I say all the time, I think just a lot of people just don't like tertiary, and it's not that the wine's bad. A lot of people will open a wine that's fine. It's potentially lost fruit, and that maybe isn't where it's going to shine, and maybe it's at towards the end of its window. But I like dirty wines. I like old Bordeaux. I like tertiary.
You like
And
old Band-Aid, huh?
not literally old band-aids. Yeah, just like I like that. I did like it. To me, it's something, you know. I find that that's when wines really start to differentiate themselves also as they get older. Wines that should have the ability to get older, most which is not most wines. Most wines just go bad.
Yeah.
But wines that are meant to get older and age and change and evolve, like that's something unique about it. And it's not better or worse. And I don't yell at people for drinking young wines. Like, enjoy, no one knows what tomorrow is going to bring either. Enjoy your wine, enjoy what you like, you can always the other side of it is that it's worthwhile to experiment. It's worthwhile to taste new things and have new experiences. Don't get stuck. But no one's wrong for drinking what they drink.
In the
Oh,
middle of a snowstorm in New York, we opened an '03 Saint Emilion Grand Cru, and it was
right. You thought you weren't getting out, so you just opened it
yeah,
so you could
exactly.
pop
Everyone was like, "This is the end of the world. We might as
it.
well raid the old wine."
Here's a bottle that I would drink on Purim. This is Chateau
Ooh.
Barbazan Bordeaux. Now, it's not really showing up on
Yeah.
my screen. It's a beautiful label, by the way. It's a really cool label.
Is it,
You see it? The
is that a
butterfly.
BAM?
Is it a what?
It's a BAM wine and spirits?
Oh, it is BAM.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know. I thought you were saying something banned. Um, it's Bordeaux, and that's something that's a whole, classifications of Bordeaux could be a whole separate
And you liked it.
podcast. Did like it. I just want to point out that one note that reading labels, it just says it doesn't say Saint Emilion. It doesn't say Grave. It says Bordeaux. That's all it says. And that is the first base classification of Bordeaux wines is Bordeaux. The next one up would be Bordeaux Superior. But Bordeaux has a classification, but what you're going to find with it is why I think it's like a good wine for Purim is that it's a simplistic type of wine. It's a fresh wine. It's made to consume now. Not every wine, you see Bordeaux, you're like, oh, I can age it for 30 years. No, no, no. Not a wine like, not that's just a Bordeaux AOC like this. This is if you understand that part of it and you know what you're getting into, then you understand it's pop and drink now, that it's unoaked and it's just made to, with fruit to that's in that fresh style. And I thought it was very nice and very, again, not a complex wine. It's a 20 something dollar wine. But really nice. And this is exactly the type of wine I think I would drink on Purim because it doesn't have that like crazy depth to it and crazy structure. And it's hard to drink a lot of that like in one sitting. That's the type of wine you brewed over one glass. You're
Hmm.
swirling it, you're smelling it, you continue tasting it and sipping at it. Those kind of big wines, like
What's the blend of
an
that one?
Echo. Sorry.
What's the blend in there? Does it say what blend it is?
I think it's 100% Merlot, if I remember correctly. You're asking me if I can see the label, which the answer is no. I don't think it says though. You make the old guy face like this.
Exactly.
For anyone who's watching this, the squinting down look. I feel like I haven't written it up yet, but I'm pretty sure it's 100% Merlot. Um, so even more so, the Merlot is softer and it's not, heavy duty tannins, and it was just like it's a nice, enjoyable fruity wine, and I think that's the kind of wine I go for. Or things like Gamay, Beaujolais Nouveau is great for Purim,
Beaujolais Nouveau,
or
yes.
yeah, or so really we should time Purim for the fall when they all come out. It happens to be most of them don't even get here until until early in the year anyway. So probably they're just hitting the market, the Beaujolais Nouveau. Or
It's
of
so funny.
course,
The kosher consumers don't know about like in the non-kosher world, they run as fast as they can to get those as early as possible. And here we're just like,
yeah,
whatever.
it's why it's called Beaujolais Nouveau. It's the first new wine, and it's made in a very non-complicated style and super fresh. And those are first wines that come out from each vintage, and primarily made from Gamay, which is very fruity, very typically made. This is nerd stuff, but semi-carbonic, but it's super fruity.
Hmm.
And they come out, I think, in November. They have Beaujolais Nouveau Day in France, and I would love that. We don't get a ton of it in the kosher world, but we do get some.
We have
We
a
do get
few,
some.
but not enough to go and do the Boj Nouveau Day.
Yeah, well,
Definitely
why
not.
not? We can. We
That would
can.
be fun. We should make it up. A kosher Boj Nouveau Day. That would be fun.
Yeah, I was just about to look up. I think I want to look up like how many. There's a handful of them for sure. Just looking on kosherwine.com. Anyway, I think it tends to be like mid-November and Boj Nouveau Day, and yeah, it looks like there's only two left in stock, but 6 to 8 of them on the market. No, I shouldn't say that because two of them are just old.
I used to like I haven't seen it in a while, but that Pogni. There was one that was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was good.
Yeah, I don't think the 25 was brought. I don't know if it was made, but kosher at least. But yeah, I like that wine. It was a pretty label.
The
I
flowers.
speak to a
Yeah.
lot of people. Yeah, I wish there were more because I think that's a fun wine. It's just, so one thing I saw on one of the chats this week was that, and it reminded me of this, was that the Malbec Trigadina
Mm.
and the Probus, which is it's their flagship wine. And Malbec from that area is top, and this is a flagship, and it's a very well-known brand. And it was expensive. It was anywhere between 80 and $100. They came out with three, and that was the most expensive one. And it didn't sell. And now it's like you can find it for 40 to $50, which is steal. You can't find it in Baltimore for that price, and I'm sure you can't find it in Montreal for that price.
No.
But where most of the Jews live, in the fancy places of New York and the tri-state and the fourth state of Florida, you can get it at that price. And I mean, personally, I would grab that up. That's a great wine. But the thing is, like, how did it come to that? And it's because it didn't sell. It's because people don't know what it is. They see a name they don't know. They see a French name. They see Malbec or a region they don't know, and they
And
don't buy it
the reason
because
why is because it's not a cab.
right, it's not a cab, and it's like I don't know how we'll ever get away from that. But it's more acute in the kosher world than it is in the non-kosher world. I think I would say I know. But a lot of people say things like that, and I just think there's, we're dropping the bucket of everything in the wine world. We're also dropping the bucket percentage-wise. So it seems like we're smaller, but I would
I don't know if you
I
I
don't
think
know.
you're
My point,
underestimating us.
that's what I'm saying. I think too many people underestimate us, and that I think I think that there are more educated kosher wine consumers than people give us credit for. I think it's probably not a different percentage than in non-kosher world. I think the vast majority of non-kosher wine drinkers are not educated and also drink cab and chard because that's all they know.
I was in a local store this week,
Wouldn't you agree
and
with that?
yes,
Right.
and the non-Jewish guy that was working there, he's like, we sell so much kosher wine, and he's like, you know why? Because we have Xmas once a year, and you have it every week.
Right. It's a great point. Well, that always reminds me of like my mom always used to laugh at all these, ladies she worked with, who would say like they would fetch about two things, either the Thanksgiving Seder or the Pesach Seder. And it was like the two times a year they did it. And they're like, cooking so much. My mom's like, we do it every week.
Yeah.
And so like it's like I don't even get that's why I never thought like a Pesach Seder, except with the exception of the fact that, it's harder to do anything non-chametz and that complication. It's not harder to make. It's the same. It's just hard to put together a dinner for like, I don't know, it's not any harder. I mean, we do it every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than, when you have Yontif and everything. We do it all the time.
And I
And
think that look at the publishing world has gone out of style. People don't buy
yeah.
books anymore because of Shabbos. We will always be buying
I
books,
buy
and
books. Oh yeah, yeah. So right, we're the bubble in that world of
we are the
magazine.
bubble in publishing. We're the bubble in the wine world.
Could to some degree we are. To
Yeah.
some degree we are. I think we're going to see the kosher wine producers and distributors are going to see some pain for sure. And there's always the if things, God forbid, turn south financially in the world and those kind of things, then they see it also. But for the most part, you're right. We're a bubble. We buy anyway, but it's just hard to get people off of cab It's hard to get people off the gas. And that's and I think to bring it all the way back to why that I thought of that was because Beaujolais Nouveau is one of those things. Like people don't know what that is and or what to make of it. And then they drink it and it's very different style than like what they're used to. It's
Yeah.
the farthest thing really from some Napa cab or something like that. It's a very different style. And people don't know what to make of that, so they just don't buy it because they're afraid to buy it unless you have someone knowledgeable suggesting wines to you. They may never even taste one of those, and they'll sit on shelves.
Yeah,
And
they call
then what
them.
happens? They don't get made again.
Yeah,
So that's what happens to a lot of these wines.
yeah. They call them the poor man's Burgundy.
What's that?
They call the Beaujolais Nouveau the poor man's Burgundy.
Oh, okay. Well, I would be sad to lose wines from these Malbecs from Cahors. But if people don't buy them, we're just not. The money is the bottom line, and business is the bottom line.
That
And
Cahors 15, I missed that Cahors 15. I just had my last bottle.
that one that Kosher Wine had,
Yeah.
that was still out there not long ago, and
I know. I
they
bought
were
it like a year ago.
still drinking well. And it just goes to show you because the Trigadina is a much higher end producer, and those are great wines. Well, I don't know.
At $49, I saw them. People are posting them all over. They're
They
at
even left
$49. They're
someone selling
giving
them for like 40 or something
It's
like that.
crazy. They're giving it away.
Crazy. I know Mendy Marks told me that he had, can't remember which wine. He has a couple wines that are so cheap. I wish I was closer to Teaneck. That's all I can say. Because I just those sales don't make it here
Mm-mm.
because you can buy old wines. They just happen to be sitting on the shelves for 6 years.
Right. So it's a hit or
I go
miss.
into some
Yeah.
local towns here and I see. I'm like, that rosé is from 2014. Like, it's sitting on the shelves.
Uh,
No one knows, no one cares. And I feel bad because someone who doesn't know may buy one of those and they'll be like, this is terrible, and never buy another rosé. And that's
exactly.
like, that's what happens is that when you have some situations like that. But
I was in Pittsburgh this week, and I walked into the store,
I
and they
saw
had
your thing. You were walking around looking at bottles of wine.
yeah.
They
So
had,
I saw a 12. They had an Echo 12, and I'm like, it's probably been sitting on the shelf for 10 years. There's
it's
no way this has any life in it.
maybe not 10 years, but a long time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and probably sitting upright in a
Yeah. In a lit room without
in a bright
humidity
room.
control and nothing. Yeah.
It's well, I mean, that's what you get when you live in smaller towns in Anatevka like we do.
Yes.
All right, well, we should drunk dial each other on Purim.
That would be so much fun.
Right? I'm just thinking we
Hey,
should
Kenny, what are you drinking?
make a podcast out of that. I don't know if my the people sitting around me will allow me to do that though, but we should at least do something. Like we did, which never made the light of day of our KFWE. We never put that, did we?
We
We
never
didn't put.
put it anywhere. We should put it somewhere.
I don't know where to put. How do you put that up?
You know what we should do?
KFWE.
We should start our Purim episode, our drunk dial Purim episode with that one, and then
It could
just
just
do a
be. It could be drunk outtakes.
yeah.
I'm never drunk. I'm never drunk. Not nor are you.
No, takes a lot to
You
get me
should
drunk.
dress as me, and I should dress as you on Purim. How about that?
That would be funny.
Well, you would have to. The beer would
Yeah,
have to go.
exactly. What would I do? I have to get like one of those.
Uh,
They have the masks. I that which we should make a
you
Kenny
could pull
mask.
your beard over your head. I do that with my daughters. I pull their hair over my. It's an old classic joke of mine to make people laugh. As I pull their hair over my head as a bad toupee.
As a what do they call it? The brush
Secretly, I
over.
love it. Yeah, secretly, it thrills me. All right, Freilichin, happy and healthy.
Same to you.
What do you do?
Purim
You have a
Sameach.
shul one?
Yeah, we have a shore one, and
Oh, last question for
there's
you.
good wine. Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but I had this swimming in my head also, and I wanted to hear your thoughts, your rabbinical thoughts on it, your rabbinical beard guy thoughts on it. You can't just walk around with that massive beard and not have rabbinical thoughts. That's all I'm saying.
The thoughts are in the beard.
Is that where you store them?
Yes.
Um, Drinking on Purim night. What's your take on that? and then we'll go, and then we're gonna go. That's
You're
it's gonna
saying the
end.
pre-drink.
The yeah. Well, what's your take on it? Should you drink on Purim night? I mean, a lot of my friends do. A lot of people I know have parties on Purim night, and certainly some get rowdy. What's your thought on that?
There's a couple I mean halachically there may be an issue with it because the mishteh is supposed to be Purim day. It's a mitzvah. It's one of the four mitzvahs of Purim, and it's specifically for Purim day. And so there could be a problem, right? If you get drunk the night before, you're not going to be interested in doing what you the following night, right? As
Right. So is the problem then getting drunk on Purim night or just drinking, period? In your opinion, I'm putting you on the spot. By the way, I did not zone out there as you started. So I just
no, I know. I was just calling you out. Uh, it's interesting. The question of the chassan at the wedding, right? Whether he can have a l'chaim or he can't have anything to drink. And I think a lot of people will say the chassan cannot have anything to drink for various reasons at the wedding. And even though in the secular world it's like get the groom drunk, and I think there's something similar to Purim that
huh.
that in order to appreciate, it's a mitzvah of Purim to drink wine and to drink and to eat on Purim day. And you don't want to, heaven forbid, end up with, I know people say, what's the best cure for a hangover? You continue drinking. I'm happy for you. But you don't want to end up with this issue,
I
which could
love that
happen.
way that you're like a groom on Purim night. There's a lot of connections to be made there.
Yeah.
I think it's a very cool idea. And that's interesting. I also don't even know. I don't think I know the halacha of drinking as a chassan.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem, I have a future.
I
Well, he's a
know. That's
chassan.
what I'm saying. You're going to be
Yes.
dealing with this soon.
He doesn't. He's not a. He doesn't really drink. It's like he tastes wine. It's funny because this is my future son-in-law. I know. People would say that should be the first question I asked of him, but it happens to be. I like that. I like that he doesn't really drink.
Well, you have
My
someone to teach. I'm
my
sure you're very
daughter.
happy.
My daughter, the Kala, though, she's not only does she enjoy wine, but she's always been very good with the notes and like the tasting and like I think she's the best at it with of my children. And so in any case, but he bought me a really nice bottle, so that's the most important thing. I don't
So
care if he
he
or
knows
not,
your
as
love
long as he
language.
continues to buy. That's right.
He...
We'll see. Hopefully that'll continue. But all right. Well, a Freilichin Purim, and we want to hear back from people. I'd like to. What was the poll we're putting out about? Remind me.
Um,
We said. Well, I remember. I was just trying to give you your. I was segueing into.
oh, thank you.
It was about Purim, about drinking. Actually, I don't remember.
I thought it's
About
higher.
drinking. About whether they drink more on Purim or
Yeah,
Pesach.
yeah. Do you drink more Purim Pesach? And
Right.
I wonder if people also follow you. Sounds like you do lower alcohol. We do opposites. You do lower alcohol on
Yeah.
Purim and higher, and I do the opposite. I'd love to hear what
I
people say about
I
that.
don't set out to do that. I really don't, but I think to some degree I do. I try to drink maybe a little lighter wines. I'll put it this way: when I go down to my friend's Eurocave and pull out a bottle, if I'm picking between two bottles, I'm gonna always choose Pinot over the Cab because for that reason, because I know we're. So
Because,
yeah, I guess I do lean. I lean that way for sure.
but I would choose a Pinot over a Cab any day.
Okay, that's your taste. I mean, I love
Yes.
both. I love both. Um, and I wouldn't say on Pesach I gear towards heavy wine. I don't do that, but my point is that I don't avoid it. And I certainly in Shechiano, I tend to, you know what? A lot of times they're not super heavy. They just may be very expensive and
Yeah.
very aged. So maybe they're not so heavy because they've matured into something not so heavy, but they're heavy duty wines. They're big wines, and meaning they're as our friend Yossi Horowitz calls them, Moshiach wines. Like they're special wines to me.
Old wines.
They're important wines.
I have
Um,
a I have an interesting thought that I just had. A halachic nuance. You should do Baruch Mordechai and Arur Haman on Purim like we said this was going to be a short episode.
Very good.
You should just
Fair.
get lost in the
Great point.
you should get lost in the Mishnah. That's the point. Like we got lost in this conversation. You should get lost in the Mishnah.
I love it. I love it. Right, because when I told you I'm like I can only go on for I don't know if that was clear. We said this was I did say short, but I
Yeah.
really told you before. I'm like I have like 15 minutes and me. Got to get out there. It's dark now, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna run in the dark. I'll wear a thing. I'll wear the reflector. But you're right. It's a beautiful point, and that's
That's exactly what the halacha is.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm gonna tell that over in Purim if I remember it.
May
If
you
I
not remember.
All right. Freilichin, enjoy. It's great to see you.
Same here.
Have a great Purim.